Route 1 Fusion connects trade and valuation, pre-qualification, scheduling, and protection products into one seamless experience. Create a more connected buying journey. Visit route1.com/fusion to schedule your demo.
Welcome to Daily Drive for Tuesday, July 21st, 2026. I'm Kellen Walker in Las Vegas. Today on the show, General Motors raised its guidance for the second time this year, why negative equity is becoming a problem for F&I managers, and Canada's counter tariffs are costing the U.S. billions of dollars in exports. Plus, automotive news reporter Mark Homer joins us to talk about how dealers are using TikTok to sell more cars.
Crucial moment was last year when TikTok launched a platform that was specific to dealerships to allow them to run advertising.
Let's run through all the news you need to know to keep up in the auto industry. General Motors' net income fell by almost a third in its second quarter after more electric vehicle write-downs. But the automaker raised its guidance for the second time this year as sales and transaction prices continue to go up. GM's North American profits surged by 43% from a year earlier. Global adjusted earnings before interest and taxes rose 30% to almost $4 billion. Globally, operating margins and revenue are both up. Despite the operational gains, net income declined because the company took a $2.3 billion charge tied to its electric vehicle realignment. Upcoming redesigns to two of GM's top-selling and most profitable vehicles, the Chevrolet Silverado and GMC Sierra, should further boost profits, said CEO Mary Barra. She also noted that the company plans to bring significant production into the U.S. to reduce its exposure to President Donald Trump's import tariffs. Consumers trading in upside-down vehicles are now financing record numbers of monthly payments and interest costs, according to Edmunds' Q2 negative equity data report. Such financial challenges when buyers owe more than their vehicles are worth, forcing increasingly difficult conversations between clients and dealership finance and insurance managers. Edmunds found buyers trading in upside-down vehicles carried an average debt of almost $7,000 on their previous loans, which is the highest second quarter figure on record. The trend reflects the aftermath of 2022 when inventory shortages and transactions at or above sticker price pushed many consumers into larger loans. 4 years later, many of those buyers are returning to dealerships still carrying thousands of dollars in debt from their previous purchase. The average underwater trade-in is now 4 years old, another second quarter record. U.S. President Donald Trump called Canada's counter tariffs on U.S.-made vehicles discriminatory and ordered 50% tariffs on an array of Canadian imports. The executive order claims Canadian tariffs on U.S.-built vehicles have cost the American auto sector billions of dollars in lost exports. However, the order does not acknowledge that Trump began the U.S.-Canada trade war with 25% duties on Canadian vehicles in April 2025. The latest set of U.S. tariffs are set to take effect August 19th. To justify new tariffs, Trump cited discrimination under Section 338 of the U.S. Tariff Act of 1930. It remains to be seen whether the rarely used provision will stand. And those are today's headlines. You can find more details on all those stories at autonews.com. Joining me now to talk more about U.S.-Canada trade tensions is Toronto Bureau Chief David Kennedy of Automotive News Canada. David, welcome back to Daily Drive.
Thanks for having me.
All right, David. So what impact could these new tariffs have on automakers and suppliers that rely on the deeply integrated North American manufacturing network?
Well, the good news for the auto industry in this is that there's likely to be essentially no effect to these 50% tariffs. The target, there's a huge list of targeted industries and goods that the Trump administration has come out with for this, but auto isn't on it. Despite using auto as a bit of a pretext to put them in place, surprisingly, vehicles and parts aren't going to see any added tariffs, which is good news for auto manufacturers. But at the same time, those 25% vehicle tariffs are still in place, so they're not going anywhere with this. But there'll be no added, pain when it comes to this.
Now, with both countries continuing to exchange tariffs, is there a realistic path toward de escalation, or should the auto industry prepare for even more trade related uncertainty?
Well, I think for this summer at least, I think the auto industry knows it's going to have to buckle up and get ready for some rocky road ahead. But that said, longer term, I think there's also some acknowledgement here that there probably is a path to de-escalation that would benefit both the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Working together to get the USMCA back on track and free trade in autos back on track is really what everybody in the auto industry across North America wants. And I think this is becoming abundantly clear to the White House as well. It's tough to say exactly how we're going to get there and how long it's going to take. But the reality is that is the way the industry is pushing. And there is, at least opportunity for all sides, to come to terms on this and, move forward together as opposed to, putting in tariffs that ultimately cost consumers in all three of the countries.
David Kennedy, Automotive News Canada, Toronto Bureau Chief, thank you so much for joining me.
No problem.
Coming up, Automotive News reporter Mark Homer discusses how dealerships are using TikTok to triple their sales. That's next on Daily Drive.
Route 1 Fusion is a digital retail solution designed to help dealerships engage customers earlier in the process and help you capture more opportunities from your online traffic. Today's consumers expect a fast, connected experience with clarity from the start, especially when it comes to payments, trade-ins, and financing options. With Fusion, dealerships can bring key parts of the buying process together, combining trade-in valuation, pre-qualification, appointment scheduling, and protection product presentations into one connected experience. This allows customers to explore their options earlier, arrive better prepared, and move through the process with a clearer understanding of what to expect. That leads to more realistic expectations, more productive conversations, and a smoother transition from online to in-store. With Fusion, you can customize your digital retail experience and create a more connected buying journey for your customers. It's designed to support your team, reduce friction, and create a more consistent experience from first click to final steps in the process. The result? Higher quality leads, stronger interactions, and a more efficient path to purchase. Ready to see it in action? Schedule your personalized demo at route1.com/fusion.
Welcome back to Daily Drive. I'm Kellen Walker. TikTok has become a marketing tool for dealerships to show off their service and inventory. For some dealers, it has doubled or tripled their sales. But other social media apps like Instagram may still have their purpose too. Our own Jake Neer sat down with Automotive News reporter Mark Homer to talk about how dealers are integrating social media into their business models.
Mark Homer, welcome back to Daily Drive.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. Fascinating story and interviews that you've been doing about TikTok in dealerships. I'm curious if you could set the scene for us here. When did TikTok stop being something that dealers were just sort of experimenting with and start becoming something that they're actually integrating into their business?
Well, it's been on their radar since it launched in around 2017, but the crucial moment was last year when TikTok launched a platform that was specific to dealerships to allow them to run advertising. So that set off an apparent explosion in interest.
And one of the more memorable interviews was you had your main story here features Russell Richardson, who literally tripled his own sales before he started doing coaching for other dealers. What is it about TikTok specifically that makes it so effective for moving cars as opposed to other social media sites like Instagram or Facebook?
That's with an asterisk. It's effective because it's complementary to the other ones. People on TikTok aren't necessarily as much on Facebook or Instagram, and they're often younger. And so it's a unique audience that they can just grab that's ripe for the taking.
TikTok launched dealership-specific advertising tools in 2025. So obviously it is aware of this relationship. How does that sort of formalize what's been a pretty organic and grassroots thing up to this point? that dealers were essentially just doing on their own, or even employees were just doing on their own.
Well, because there are more resources for advertising that the marketing firms the dealerships use to place ads and to fill and fulfill their multimedia strategy, that makes this part of the equation because you need every social media platform to maximize your audience, and so because it has the tools that are needed, it's now it's not quite an afterthought, but it's just part of the routine.
And what do those tools look like? I'm curious. What is it that TikTok saw and was like, "Oh, we can really help dealers specifically out with these features in the app."
It's to allow for basically it's to allow for advertising links and other functionality for businesses.
Got it. Okay. So what does that look like? Is that just sponsored ads that they can get into, or is it different ways of presenting the content, or
I think what it basically comes down to is it allows to have a formal venue or a template on which they can place ads.
Mhm.
It allows them to make more money in terms of advertising fees.
Got it. Okay. Mark, I think one of the more interesting angles in your story to me is that dealerships are also using TikTok to hire technicians, not just sell cars. Is a trend that we talk about all the time here on the show, the tech shortage for dealerships and service drives. How significant is that given how hard it's been for dealers to staff their service bays?
It's a pleasant surprise because TikTok followers uh, link on to pages or like channels, of a dealership or a salesperson. So it attracts, obviously people interested in buying cars, but also like-minded people in the industry. So it's another uh, and creative way to reach potential employees. I mean, there's a shortage of technicians, and the dealership I spoke to for the story uh, said that they basically don't have one anymore because they've been able to hire people through TikTok.
Wow. So clearly there are young technicians, maybe not all young, but there are a lot of technicians out there, or possible technicians, and that's where they are. So they found a way to, not go through the traditional routes, go to the channels that they're already viewing and get that message that this could be an option for you.
Yeah, exactly. It's becoming. I mean, it's a increasingly important advertising channel, but as a community link for that's industry specific, it's also becoming more significant.
Yeah. So we're going to hear a couple of interviews that you did. I got the pleasure of being able to listen in live on a couple of these. But what's interesting to me also is that this isn't a universally accepted strategy, at least in terms of going all in. Not every dealer is convinced that this is going to be a real boon for them. One marketing firm actually saw its TikTok client count drop from 40 to 20. What's holding some dealers back? Is it the platform's sort of political baggage, maybe the learning curve of getting into this platform, or something else entirely?
I think it's more about not there isn't a single platform that solves everything, and so in certain markets, TikTok is going to do better than others. Where they can get more younger shoppers, younger fans, for example. So uh, as they piece together their multimedia strategy, for some they'll need all of the social media platforms, but others not necessarily.
Hmm. Now, the other downside here, maybe not downside, but a note that dealers have to be aware of, and employees as well, is that the FTC has its own sort of thoughts and enforcement mechanisms for advertising, and TikTok can fall into that. Obviously, we've been talking about that a lot on the pages of Automotive News this year and on Daily Drive, that the FTC is cracking down. Where does that leave these TikTok videos?
Well, it's not necessarily a bad situation because uh, it's important for dealerships to screen them and to
Hmm.
monitor them to make sure. that anything advertising a sale item, for example, is current and that the price accurately is reflected on TikTok is the same that's in the showroom. And basically, truth in advertising. If they monitor these things, they're fine. If the sale is done, take the video down. If you want to avoid some of these pitfalls, recommendations are to just keep the videos broad and light and just entertain, which is what many TikTok videos already do.
And there is a possible issue though, right? With, a lot of times maybe a salesperson might not realize that they're uh, essentially advertising for their company if they're just showing a car, on the lot, and they really want to get some attention for the vehicles that they're personally trying to sell, that sort of thing. Dealers need to be aware when that's happening, correct?
They do, and it comes down to a big umbrella for all of this is as exciting as TikTok can be to both entertain and attract customers and attract employees. Dealerships need to remember that training allows them to stay compliant with regulations. So, sit down with your floor manager, with your sales team, and go over the rules. That FTC rules say this, this, and this. That means these videos need to have this, this, and this. And so training is key here.
So for anyone in a dealership or any other industry insider that's thinking about this issue, whether to get into it, any final thoughts on what you've learned through this journey of reporting for this story?
It goes back to Russ Flips Whips. I love that moniker.
So good.
He was one of the early auto dealership TikTok pioneers, and he did so well, as you mentioned, that he's become a global trainer for dealerships in terms of how to use TikTok. And basically, it's dive in, don't be afraid, try things, be funny, be yourself. Just don't stop trying, because you can always film it again. And also, don't limit to just TikTok. Post a video posted on TikTok reaches a lot of people, but post it on all your social media, because you reach even more customers and people that can learn about your brand.
You could find all of Mark Holmer's reporting on this and other stories related to retail tech and all the interesting trends going on, including TikTok, at autonews.com and in the pages of Automotive News. Mark, wonderful reporting on this. Really excited to hear more of your interviews throughout the week this week. Thanks again for joining us.
My pleasure.
That's Daily Drive for today. I'm Kellen Walker. Thanks to Clara Martinez, as well as our own Nick Bunkley, Nancy Dunham, David Kennedy, and Mark Holmer for their reporting for today's podcast. You can get the latest news on GM sales performance, negative equity on loans, and everything happening in the auto industry at autonews.com. Come back tomorrow for an interview with an automotive mentor who is coaching dealers on using social media to boost sales.
So I did something very unique. I kind of created a dealership within a dealership.
We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think of the show and the topics we covered today. Send us an email at dailydrive@autonews.com or leave us a voicemail at 313-444-2774. And if you enjoyed the podcast, remember to like, leave a review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.